Welcome to the 2023 updated Beginner's Guide to Starting Tradelands. We'll be covering a lot of information and a lot of topics, so buckle up. Okay, so you first load into the game, but what faction should you pick? Well, you should either be picking either Nova or Whitecrest. It doesn't really matter what faction you pick because the levels transfer between all factions. The only thing that's different is the reputation, but that's easy to build in the faction that you choose to join later on in the game. Nassau and Halengard are basically dead factions. Halengard is hostile to all other factions, and so is Pirates, so I would not recommend starting on Halengard or Pirates because they're hostile. Pirates is generally considered to be for high level players who have better ships and better gear, also skill with combat, and also good gunnery. Pirates steal cargo from traders for a bonus doubloon when selling, so that's the only bonus of being a pirate, but it's easier to just start off as a trader because you're bound to level up faster and get doubloons faster when you're trading. Trading in Tradelands is one of the main game mechanics, so let's make sure that you get it right. You first want to join a small server to trade in so you don't get raided by pirates. You're then going to want to spawn your starter ship or whatever ship you've made to that point. First, sail over to the trader NPC at your spawn island. This will be located at the docks usually. Then load up your ship with a variety of cargo, usually 50-50 of each cargo type. This will mean that when you sell your cargo you get better yields, as selling the same cargo makes them go down. First starting out, you're going to want to just sail to the nearest island, sell, and then sail back with new cargo. Repeat this until you level up into a new ship or get enough doubloons to make a better ship. As a high level, around when you lock the pheasant, follow this trade route around the map. Credit to World of Nations for this trade route, by the way. This trade route yields a very high doubloon per minute, so use it when trading. Trading to Birkland and the Eastern Seas is not really recommended, as the trips take a very long time. Only do this if you plan to go semi-AFK or are carrying very high value fish cargo and want to make the most of the doubloons out of it. Combat logging is the act of leaving the game or resetting whilst in combat, and it will jail you. It will not save your cargo from your ship, so don't do it. When sailing in Tradelands, it's usually best to sail downwind for the maximum speed. This does not work on all sails, but more on that later. The wind revolves around a rock between Fenwick and Perth known as the Wind Rock. The wind travels in a circular direction around the map, and this changes from going clockwise to anti-clockwise around the map every 3 days. The controls for sailing are W to go, S to stop, F and R will increase or decrease your speed. You can press V to change your view from your character to above your gunners, and you can press M to view your map and also where you are on the map. Leveling up in Tradelands is very important if you want to get better. Your main level is gained from trading and unlocks new ships. Swordsmanship and marksmanship gain when you get hits on players with swords or ranged weapons. Higher levels have decreased loading speeds. Mining and timber felling are gained from hitting rocks and trees with the relevant tools. Crafting level from crafting things and allows you to craft more. Fishing from fishing, brawling from punching players. Each skill has different equipable titles which are unlocked at different levels. You can press C to view your levels, but you can also view your faction reputation. It's gained by cargo trading and killing enemies. You lose reputation for factions that you attack or steal cargo from. Reputation is one requirement for joining official navies and crews. Resource gathering is very important for leveling up and crafting bigger ships. Equip your starting stone tools and head over to the nearest rock or tree. Use the axe on the tree and the pickaxe on the rock. Gather enough iron and oak till you have 12 of each resource. Then with your 12 iron and 12 oak, go ahead and craft an axe and a pickaxe at the crafting station. Use these tools so they can gather more oak and more iron and other resources that you'll get alongside them. As you chop trees and mine rocks, your level for timber felling and mining will increase. Higher levels can allow you to yield higher ore drops. For each resource that you collect, your weekly count will increase. You can check your count by doing the /count command in chat, and after you reach 1,000 count, your drop rate from resource gathering will start to decrease. So don't gather too many resources. This count does reset every week. You should generally do a mixture of cargo trading to increase your main level and doubloons, and a bit of mining or tree felling for materials to craft ships. Selling resources is also a great way to get doubloons. When mining or tree felling, you'll get many different kinds of resources which you can sell to other players for a big profit. You'll mainly want to keep your oak and iron for shipbuilding, but you can sell any other rare resources that you get in big amounts. People prefer to buy resources in large numbers, so get a decent amount before selling them. You can advertise that you're selling resources in the in-game chat, and you can look up prices in the official Tradelands Discord server, where you can browse the trade channel to see what other people are selling their resources for. It's recommended that you don't overprice your resources so that people are more likely to buy them. Selling resources can be more profitable than trading, but it does not increase your main level. It is recommended that on your way to level 10 you prioritise trade ships over combat ships. The armament of your ship is insignificant compared to its trade ability when you're low level. When picking a new ship to build, it's usually wise to pick one with the highest cargo count. Some notable ships that you should get are the Heron, the Pelican, the Pheasant, the Marlin, the Goose, the Beaver and the Mastiff. Arming your ships with cannons is optional. You can protect your ships, but it's very unlikely that you'll actually get raided if you're trading in small servers, and cannons are very expensive to build. There are two vital commands that you need to learn for playing Tradelands. These are the trade and the invite commands. /trade sends a trade request with another player. This is how you transfer items to players. /invite invites a player to your crew. The player has to be on the same faction as you, and a crew allows its players to use your cannons, drive your ship, and gain money from cargo that you sell. Note that you can't invite players onto a ship with cargo on board. Also remember that the more people you trade with, the less money you're going to make. Loyalty tokens are given out to you on a daily basis when you first join the game each day. Loyalties can be used for many things, but it's recommended that you save them and only spend them on things you need, like cannon repair kits, high quality molds, and featherstones are what you should spend them on. Featherstones allow you to carry more weight in your inventory, which is very useful when you're carrying a lot of round shot. It is important that you learn basic ship terminology before joining navies or pirate crews. Port is the left side of the ship when facing forward, starboard is the right side of the ship when facing forward, bow is the front of the ship, and the stern is the rear of the ship. Some other Tradelands terminology includes RS is for round shot, DB is for doubloons, PP is for per piece, which is used when you're selling. The Grand Isles is the name of the Tradelands map. Chasers are bow guns which are facing forward in the ship, and sterns are stern guns which face the rear of the ship. When starting out in Tradelands, you will need a way to defend yourself. The best low-level weapons are the short sword and the saber, though you will need to ask a high level to craft the saber for you. When fighting, you scroll up to stab, click to slash, and to overhead bash, you need to scroll down. To block, hold right click. These moves all consume stamina, so use them wisely. If you need to heal up, eat hardtack to replenish your health. This can be bought from the general merchant. For ranged weapons, it's recommended that you only get a crossbow at low level, as muskets are expensive to use and make as a low level player. You should always make sure you have some round shot with you to use on cannons in the event that you go up against pirates. When shooting cannons, use the WASD keys to aim and the F key to fire. It requires one round shot from either your inventory or the ship's storage. A cannon will use RS from your inventory before it takes it from the ship's storage. Piracy is great for when you have a crew in a full server full of traders. Stealing cargo gives you a stolen cargo bonus when selling for extra doubloons. This is something that you can do when you start to get a little higher level. Generally, you want to head out on a fast ship with 1 or 2 crew with you to steal the cargo. Go for ships with no crew to defend, and you should have no problem stealing the cargo. You're going to want to tag the enemy ship with 1 round shot to damage it. This means that the captain of the ship cannot despawn their ship in an attempt to flee. Sail alongside and hop aboard, then run to the ship's cargo hold and click the steal button when the UI shows up. Then drop the cargo onto your own ship with the F key. Repeat till full and then sell far from the cargo's origin for a better price. There is a doubloon reward for sinking ships, but it's usually not enough to cover the expense of the round shot use. There are a few main sail types within Tradelands, each having a different effect on how a ship sails in relation to the wind direction. Square rigged sails sail fastest downwind, best for trade ships who follow the wind route to get around. Fore to aft sails do not lose speed as much when heading crosswind or even close hauled nearly towards the wind. Junk rigged sails are excellent at sailing crosswind, however are slower heading downwind. Lateen sails perform well crosswind, but suffer greatly going upwind. Some ships have a combination of square sails and fore to aft sails, making them perform differently at different wind angles. This is something to pay attention to as you become more advanced. Fishing is not recommended for lower level players as it's time consuming and takes time to get the necessary skill for catching good fish. Fishing is as simple as clicking with a fishing rod to cast your line and then clicking again when you hear a splash sound to catch a fish. To catch bigger fish, go into deeper waters with a higher fishing level. Fish can be used for fish cargo, fish oil, or simply just traded to other players. Fish cargo can yield much higher prices than regular cargo, but are not worth the time to collect all the fish required. When you play Tradelands, you will eventually come across Glowies. These are glowing, rare weapons which are bought in limited time mystery crates for 100 Robux each. These crates are released periodically at different times of year. It is not recommended that you waste doubloons on Glowies, as your doubloons are much better used for ships and materials. Most Glowies don't even have a benefit over regular weapons for combat other than cosmetics. There are combat Glowies, weapons with materials which have certain properties that can make them deal more damage. For example, Magmite has a burning effect and Vedantium has a poison effect when used on players. However, these are generally aimed at higher level players. It is possible to own a house in Tradelands, and you can check out different players' houses using the housing NPC who is located on your spawn island. Houses are used for storing furniture or displaying weapons. It is not recommended that you get a house as a low level, as they require tax from you so that you can enter your house each week. You should only really get a house if you're wealthy enough and want to show off a nice house design or perhaps a nice weapon set that you made. Some people use houses as shops where they sell their Glowies. The Tradelands official Discord, which is commonly referred to as TLO, is the main communications hub for Tradelands players. Here you can see the changelog, game announcements, rules, and be able to chat with other players. This is also where the main comms for the official navies are located if you want to join one. There is also a trade channel where players post what items they are selling or buying. You can do the same for your own items or find out common prices for materials that you want to put on the market. Joining an official navy is a great way to gain experience fast within Tradelands. You can attend navy events like trainings, which will improve your combat and gunnery skills. Going trading with navy members after events is a good way of getting to trade on larger ships. Navies are also a great way of making friends within Tradelands. Official navies or pirate crews can participate in Tradelands RP, which is where large battles are hosted that have an effect on the state of a faction or the Tradelands map itself, like what factions have control of different islands. To join an official navy, contact an Officer Plus via the Discord and they'll guide you through it. You'll require 10 faction reputation to join. And finally, that is the end of the beginner's guide to Tradelands. Hopefully now you have all the means to become either a wealthy merchant or the world's most fearsome pirate. If you have any questions, do ask them in the comments as I'm bound to answer almost all of them. Similarly, if you have any suggestions of anything that I've missed out in the guide, do leave a comment for that as well. Thank you all for watching, good luck in Tradelands, and I hope you subscribe.